Our Cleveland Browns with another doubleheader on the way as we're set to face off against the Raiders, followed by a matchup at home against the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, it has not been a great season for the Browns as we currently sit at 2-8, the worst record in the National Football League. We have not been very good, plain and simple. There's not a whole lot to it. We have not been a very good team so far this year. We'll see if we can rebound today against two teams in Las Vegas and San Francisco who are both on the outside looking in of playoff spots, but are not out of the race by any stretch and kind of have to win this game. So we're playing against two teams whose backs are against the wall. The Raiders, as you can see, 4-6. Us, meanwhile, alone at the bottom. If the season ended today, we would have the number one pick, which is really the only positive of being 2-8. As we know, this class is shaping up to be a strong one at the quarterback position, which could be in play for us in the first round. In the last episode, we had our second prospect profile of the season, going over the running backs and wide receivers in this year's class, and we'll be going over the rest of the positions as the season continues to push forward. Fun group of skill position players in this year's class. I'm excited to see where all these guys end up in the NFL, especially in the case of the wide receivers. There's a good chance one or two of them end up here. We also played against the Ravens in the last episode, who had the best record in the NFL, and we gave them a battle, 34-31. Joe Flacco went band for band with Lamar Jackson. I would argue Flacco had his best game of the year, 284 yards, completed 67% of his passes, over 8 yards per attempt. So that means the next thing I'm going to do, the timing of it might be weird, given how well Flacco played, but we're going to make a quarterback switch. This Raiders game has been kind of where I've been eyeing up over the last few weeks to potentially make a change, given that the schedule gets a little bit lighter as the year goes along. The Raiders do not have a particularly imposing defense, and because of that, I think this is where it makes the most sense to throw in one of our younger guys. Joe Flacco has not had a great year, and even though he did play really well against the Ravens, we need to see what we have in the younger quarterbacks on the roster because, well, there's a good chance we end up drafting a quarterback in the first round, especially if we end up with the number one pick. So we want to make as informed of a decision as possible with our upcoming draft capital. If we feel like we have to pick a quarterback, or if we like one of these young guys and maybe we trade down for an absolute haul. It's a good group. Kieran Riddle at Alabama just won the Heisman Trophy. Brendan Holloway and Zarius Stone will be playing against each other in the first round of the college football playoff. Isaiah Timpf and Tyree Wells, who played against each other in the ACC title game, they'll be rematching in the first round, and the winner of that game will play against Alabama with Kieran Riddle. Wambly Mendoza and Ohio State, they're also going to be in the playoffs. So we're going to get to watch all these guys in their biggest games of the year. So of the two youngsters, we are going to hand it off to Shedeur Sanders, who will be making his first and second career NFL starts today. Sanders has more experience than Gabriel. He played more in the preseason. He's gotten some reps in the regular season. He played quite a bit in Week 5 back in London. And I think outright he's better than Dillon Gabriel. And of the two of them, I think he gives us the best chance to win football games and gives us the best chance of finding a long-term starter. I do want to talk about the other rookies because our rookie class has overall been pretty successful. Mason Graham looks like the real deal. He's currently in second place for the Defensive Rookie of the Year, only behind Barrett Carter. And he is in the mix for Depoy in 8th, which is currently led by Myles Garrett. No major surprise. Look who's in second. Jerome Baker was having a really good season for us. I think second is a little bit excessive. Now, Mason Graham is not the only guy we have on the Defensive Rookie of the Year list, as linebacker Carson Swessinger finds himself in 4th. Now, unfortunately, last week against the Ravens, he tore his pec and will be out for the year. Schwessinger's been a really positive addition to this defense, and I definitely see him as a long-term starter for us, but he's going to be out for the remainder of the season and possibly into next year. We're going to put him on IR. We're going to sign Monty Rice as a replacement. I liked him as a prospect with Georgia. Didn't really work out with the Titans, but I think he's talented. This linebacking core now, though, is absolutely abysmal. Carson Swessinger and Jerome Baker were playing really well. Now they're both done, with Baker on the Chargers and Swessinger hurt. As for the running back position, I really feel like Quinshon Judkins is finally starting to come into his own. With him missing training camp and most of the preseason, he started the year really slow, but over the last couple of games, he's gotten the ball more, and he's been more effective with the football. Last week against the Ravens, he was comfortably the RB1 in terms of touches, and I expect that to continue going forward. But we'll still see Dylan Sampson, and we'll still see Jerome Ford. It'll still be a committee somewhat. As we look at this Raiders team, their offense has been kind of shaky this year. They do have a very good run defense. That's their strength. And they are top 10 in points allowed per game. At 4-6, the Raiders, record-wise, are probably right around where I expected them. They made some big additions in this offseason, and I certainly don't see these guys as a team they'll be picking in the top 5 of the draft. But their roster has a lot of holes, especially on defense. And with most of their team statistical categories on offense in the 20s, well, it's fair to say that side of the ball has been a little disappointing. They traded for Geno Smith from Seattle, a move that I thought was going to be a really good one for the Raiders. But his numbers, while not bad, I wouldn't say have been great either. I was really excited to play against our good pal Ashton Jeanty, who we had in the Broncos series last year. But he's hurt. He tore his labrum a few weeks ago and will not play. It's been an injury-riddled rookie season for Jeanty, who originally got hurt back in Week 6, comes back in Week 10, and gets hurt again. Certainly not the start to his career he was hoping for. Jacoby Myers is one of the more underrated receivers in the league, and they've got some good youngsters with Jack Besh, Trey Tucker, Dante Thornton, and of course Brock Bowers at tight end. Him and Max Crosby are two of the very best players at their positions in the NFL. Otherwise, though, the roster, especially the defense, is lackluster. Their highest rated corner is only a 78 in rookie Darian Porter. Outside of Crosby, their pass rush is not very good. Christian Wilkins was supposed to be the Robin to his Batman, but other things happened, and well, that is no longer the case. That's why I picked this Raiders game as the best matchup for a guy like Shedeur Sanders to come in and make his first career NFL start. Sure, going up against Max Crosby's not fun, but most of the other starters defensively are not great. Even though they are top 10 in defensive points allowed per game, their pass defense is still towards the bottom of the NFL. So let's get this show on the road. It will not be Shedeur Sanders out first, but instead Geno Smith and the Raiders offense. 2nd and 11 at the 26. Geno looks to throw it. Under pressure. Bounces off his lineman. Goes short. It's caught. Jack Besh, the rookie. Whoop! Juke move. And Besh gets it to the 49-yard line. A gain of 23 as Myles Garrett is hurt. Great. The best defensive player in the NFL is dinged up. That is the last thing we needed. Already having traded away Jerome Baker and losing Carson Schlesinger for the year. Other than Mason Graham, nobody else in the front has played very well who's healthy. Geno scrambles, runs for the first down, sliding at the 37. A good play there by Geno. Our run defense without Jerome Baker at linebacker, especially in terms of containing quarterbacks, has really suffered. Bowers gets it up the middle, tackled inside the 15 by Devin Bush. This could be a big day for Bowers, given that the linebackers on this team who are healthy are not very good. From the 13, Geno looks to throw it. He goes short for Dylan Laub, the young running back from the University of New Hampshire, breaking tackles to the 2-yard line. The Raiders are inching closer to the end zone. 1st and goal at the 2. Zamir White is in for a Raiders touchdown. Zamir White was also a member of our Broncos franchise last year. I'm only just making the connection that him and Jeanty were teammates there, and they're also teammates here. That's kind of cool. So here is Shedeur Sanders, his first career NFL start. He played in place of an injured Joe Flacco in Week 5 in London against the Vikings. Played really well early, then struggled as the game went along. His first pass goes to Jerry Jeudy for a gain of 8. Jeudy coming off a big game last week against Baltimore, on pace for another 1,000-yard season. This isn't Shedeur's NFL debut. I think the experience he got against the Vikings will help him out, even though that was 2 months ago and in another country. Quinshon Judkins fighting for yards. He gets 7. Judkins is the official starter at running back today over Jerome Baker for the first time in his career. So Sanders is not the only rookie in the backfield making his first start. Judkins gets 11 to the 50, and already the former national champion at Ohio State is getting the gears churning early in this one. 3rd and 10. Sanders scrambles to the right side. His pass is caught. It's Judkins. He is just shy of the first down. What a tackle. We're going to go for it, though, here on 4th and inches. Cleveland in 12 personnel. 2 tight ends to the left, 2 receivers to the right. Judkins gets the first down. Jukes away from the defenders, and there goes Judkins! 10-5, touchdown! Quinshon Judkins puts the Browns on the board with a 40-yard 4th down score. That's why the Browns are getting excited about him. A huge possession for Judkins, who accumulates pretty much all of our yards on that drive, finished off by a terrific 4th down touchdown, breaking the safety's ankles. We're tied at 7. That's our RB1, baby, as the Raiders get it back for drive number 2. Dylan Lobb in the backfield. We're going to see a lot of him today, along with Zamir White, as Geno is sacked by the rookie, Mason Graham, who forces a loss of around 7. With Myles Garrett not in the lineup, Mason Graham is going to have to be the alpha on the defensive line, especially given everybody else there is pretty useless. Speaking of useless, what was that coverage? Greg Newsome was supposed to drop into the deep zone. It was cover 3. Instead, he stays in the flats for no reason. We didn't pay you $39 million a year for that, buddy, as Devin Booker gets crossed up by Bowers to the 29. The Raiders' aerial attack looks pretty good so far, given that we have pretty much no pass rush and no linebackers. 2nd and 9 now. It's Zamir White to the outside. White with blocks gets the 1st down to the 17. Our run defense has regressed throughout the year, especially with the loss of Jerome Baker via trade, and now Carson Schlesinger out won't make things better. Bush gets beaten again. Dylan Lobb into the end zone for the touchdown, and the Raiders make it 14-7. Devin Bush has looked rough today in coverage, and he's supposed to be our best linebacker. Browns back with it. We didn't see much of Shedeur in the opening drive because, well, he didn't really have much responsibility. It was the Judkins show. That seems like a good game plan. Why don't we keep running things through him as he gains 16, moving the chains for Cleveland. 3rd and 10 now at the 39, late in a high-scoring first quarter. Every drive has ended up with a touchdown until now. Shedeur Sanders misfires. He was looking for Jabari Thrash, it looked like. Thrash played well in that game against the Vikings with Sanders under center, as that'll wrap up the first quarter, 14-7 lead. The positives, I would say, probably starts and ends with Quinshon Judkins. The defense has been god-awful. The run defense has been terrible. The coverage has been terrible. Our linebackers suck. The pass rush without Myles Garrett, as you can imagine, is not very good, given that we have only one other starting caliber player on the defensive line. At the 41, Zamir White with plenty of room again. White tries to get by Rayshawn Jenkins. He cannot, but he gains 18. How are there no linebackers in the second level? I mean, how does that happen? There was nobody there. 2nd and 8, Geno scrambles, looks to run with it, gets the 1st down, and Geno brings it to the 26. It's no coincidence that quarterbacks have scrambled very efficiently against the Browns over the last few weeks. Maybe Jerome Baker was right to be second for DPOY. Zamir White, untouched into the end zone for a score, and it's 21-7. This defensive disaster class for Cleveland continues. No Ashton Genty, no problem for the Raiders, who are bottom 10 in scoring offense this year, but it doesn't look like that today. 3rd and 2, Judkins does not get it. The Raiders with the stop. Big play up front by Vegas. That'll force a punt. They'll get it back on offense. From the 22 with Dylan Lobb in at running back. Receiver in motion. That's Trey Tucker, the youngster from Cincinnati. Geno looks to throw it. Lobs it up towards the sideline. It's Jacoby Myers to the 40. Myers has never been a true number 1, but that guy can ball, and he's been a really good player for quite some time. Read option. Geno Smith gets the 1st down. Tracked down at the 43 by Channing Tindall using his impressive speed. Signed earlier in the year from free agency, former 3rd-round pick of the Dolphins. Here's Geno under pressure. Fumbles it! And the Raiders scoop it up. That's Isaiah McGuire with the strip sack. Only the Browns can sack the quarterback, and it's still a gain of positive yards for the offense. 2nd and 8. Here's Zamir White. Look at all that space. Once White gets into the second level, he's literally walking through the Red Sea. I mean, there's nobody near him. These linebackers cannot stop the run to save their lives. At the 16, play action. Geno keeps it himself. There we go. It's Rayshawn Jenkins who brings him down. 2nd and 11, now at the 17 for the Raiders, looking to add another touchdown on the board. Geno looks to throw it up the middle. It's caught by Bowers. That wasn't even a good throw. But Bowers was so wide open, there was no defender who could have potentially hit him. 2nd and goal now at the 3. Geno, QB keeper, runs it in for a score. Geno now with a passing and rushing touchdown today. 4 drives, 4 touchdowns for the Raiders, who lead 28-7. What an absolute embarrassment defensively from the Cleveland Browns. Less than 3 minutes to go in the half. It's a screen for Judkins. Tries to push it upfield, but he loses 3. Nowhere to go whatsoever, as that'll make it a 3rd down and 13. Cleveland's got to get something going before this game gets really ugly. Sanders sacked, fumbles it, picked up by the Raiders. Max Crosby with the strip sack, and as if this game could not get any worse, it does. Crosby wins the rep on the line. Jack Conklin not starting today at right tackle due to an injury. That was Cornelius Lucas instead, who Crosby annihilates. Geno scrambles, 1st down inside the 10. Imagine what Clyde Poole would do against this Browns run defense. He would probably have 200 yards by now. 1st and goal at the 6 following the 2-minute warning. Geno looking, end zone, touchdown! Jacoby Myers adds to the lead for Las Vegas. This is getting scarily bad in an alarmingly quick amount of time. It's 35-7 in the first half. Sanders looks to throw it. He goes short. Jamari Thrash gets the 1st down to the 38. I know the defense has been the story, but Shedeur Sanders also has not been very impressive. Not that he's the one who's allowed 35 points. As he goes up the middle, Judkins with the 1st down to the 23. Cleveland uses their 2nd timeout, still with 1 more in their back pocket. Following play now for the Browns. Judkins still in at running back. He's gotten, as expected, a bulk of the snaps today. Up the middle, it's caught by Jahan Dotson, who gets it to the 11. The Browns are going to use their last timeout with 20 seconds left. Shedeur calls an audible here on 1st down. Judy wide open, high-stepping into the end zone for a touchdown. And the Cleveland Browns are within 21 points. Get your rally caps, kids. Good audible by Shedeur. That was not Judy's original route, but we saw all the space on the left side of the field and took advantage. Otherwise, that was a disastrous first half. Las Vegas is rolling. One could say they're high rolling. Get it? No? Okay. All right, Colts and Chiefs here in our halftime report. Daniel Jones leading the charge, or should I say Indiana Jones. Colts win it 17-10 against the lowly 4-7 Kansas City Chiefs. I do want to point out the Colts started 2-0 in this series as well. Since then, they are 2-7. Let's hope for their sake in real life they do not get the same fate. Vikings and Packers up next. Green Bay competing directly with mainly Chicago for the NFC North right now, as Jordan Love connects in the back of the end zone. What a catch! Matthew Golden, the rookie. 26-13, Green Bay takes it over Minnesota. Speaking of the Bears, they are hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers' likely final game in Chicago. He's won in this building a lot, but it was Caleb Williams in Chicago who would get the last laugh. This touchdown by DeAndre Swift would propel the Bears to the win 33-22, and you know it's realistic because Swift had a hole up the middle and immediately bounced it to the outside. Credit to him, though, for launching the defender into the ground and scoring the touchdown. In other news, the Jaguars are down 14-10 against Arizona. For the sake of our draft pick, we are certainly rooting for the Cardinals today. As we go into the second half, there's not a whole lot of things that I can say that are positive about this team. Quinshon Judkins is playing well. That's really the only good thing I can say. 7 carries, 74 yards, and a touchdown. 4 catches for 33 yards as well. Shedeur Sanders has not been great. 13 of 21, 103 yards in his score. He hasn't necessarily made mistakes, though. And that last drive, he did look really solid. But defensively, it's just been a train wreck. I mean, we've obviously missed Myles Garrett, Jerome Baker, and Carson Schlesinger. We've got a bunch of backups out there, and it looks like we have a bunch of backups out there. From the 23, Sanders off his back foot, connects with Judy to the 36. These two seem to have a nice little rapport. Judy's had a very nice game today. Here is David Njoku with it, gets the first down, trying to ram his way through the defender as he gets it to the 39. And much like the last drive at the end of the first half, the passing game is moving it really nicely for us. Judkins to the outside, tries to break the tackle, he does. Judkins inside the 25, a gain of 18. If this was earlier in the year, that would have been a gain of like 3 for him. But now he's nearing the 100 yards mark for the first time in his career, and there's still 7 minutes left in the third quarter. 2nd and goal at the 7. Shedeur hands it off. Judkins thrown to the ground. It's Max Crosby, who has been as advertised tonight for the Raiders. 3rd and goal now at the 11. Dylan Sampson in the game at running back, the rookie from Tennessee. Sanders taking his time. Crosby now lined up on the other side. The Raiders put him in coverage for God knows what reason, as Sampson jukes away from the linebacker, and he's in for a score. That's passing touchdown numero dos for Shedeur Sanders, who struggled early in the game, but over the last few drives, QB1 is starting to play really well. And look at the scoreboard. We're only down by 14. As bad as we've played, a stop on this drive puts us back in it, but that's a lot easier said than done. The Raiders have scored every time they've gotten the ball. Lob, fumble, picked up by the Browns! Rayshawn Jenkins with the force, and Ronnie Hickman, who's hurt on the play, recovers it at the 26. No need for a review. That ball went flying, so the Browns do get a stop. It's unconventional, but we'll gladly take it. Not only do we get the ball back, but it's with excellent field position. Judkins on 2nd down, into the red zone to the 14. And Quinshon Judkins, for the first time in his NFL career, is over the 100 yards mark. Sanders RPO incomplete with a flag. Kind of obvious where the penalty was there. You can't just tackle a receiver mid-route. It's a spot foul on the pass interference by Max Crosby, but the weird thing is the spot of the foul was behind the line of scrimmage. So by accepting the penalty, which we are for the extra down, we're moving backwards. I've watched a lot of football and I've seen a lot of things. I can't say I've seen a pass interference push the offense backwards, but here we are as Sanders is sacked near the goal line by Le'Keith Fotu. The fact that we got it to the goal line, though, shows that we made a good decision by accepting the penalty and taking the down over the 2 yards. 3rd and goal, Judkins, he's in! Touchdown number 2 in the afternoon for Quinshon Judkins. And the Browns, who were down by 28 points just 6-7 minutes ago, are only down by 1 possession. Now Cleveland will look to go for 2. Down by 14, kids, always go for 2. This decision directly won Kansas the national championship against Michigan a couple months ago in the Kansas series. 2-point try here for the Browns. Sanders looks to throw it. The initial read was Judy, who's not open. Instead, he rolls to the right. Hit as he throws, incomplete. Remains a one-score game, though, 35-27, as the Raiders get it back. The Browns are in the midst of a very impressive comeback. We're on a 20-0 run, but the thing is, you can't blame the Raiders' offense at all. The last time they were on the field, they made it 35-7. Since that last touchdown, they've had one offensive play, and that was running the clock out at the end of the first half. Otherwise, they haven't had the ball at all. So I'm still a little concerned for this comeback because we haven't gotten any signs that our defense is going to play better than they did in the first half. Zamir White on the screen gets the first down. Now from the 37. Smith will hand it off for Zamir White, and he's going backwards. There we go. It's Mohamed Diabate who brings him down. You can see Myles Garrett there. He's back in the game as well after missing pretty much the entirety of the first half. We do have a couple sacks, but the pass rush has been a ghost. We need Myles Garrett to impact the game. Smith lobs it up for Jacoby Myers to the 17. He had a step on DeMonte KZ. A huge play for the Raiders, who are continuing to air it out without any problems against this Browns defense. White gets by Monty Rice inside the 5, wrapped up at the 4. All the Raiders needed to stop this comeback was have the ball. Their offense has been pretty much perfect today. So that was the key, as Zamir White on 1st and goal loses 3. There we go. Nice play there by the defense. It's Channing Tindall who brings him down. 3rd and goal now at the 2. Looking to throw it. It's Geno. He is sacked. It's Shelby Harris, his first of the year. Remember when he was talking about how he was going to get all the double teams? Yeah, it took him until week 12 to get a sack. Clock winding down here in the 3rd. The Raiders will not get another playoff. So through 3, the comeback is kind of on. We're only down by 1 possession, but the Raiders are about to change that with a chip shot field goal. The defense has not contributed at all to the comeback. It's really only been the offense with the one big play on special teams. But this defense has still allowed points every time the Raiders have gotten the ball and have moved down the field. With the exception of the drive at the end of the first half where they ran one play, they've scored every time. At least they didn't get a touchdown this go-around, I guess, as Carlson makes the field goal. It's 38-27. Browns back with it. Offense knows they're going to have to be pretty much perfect, as they have been over the last 3 drives. Sanders scrambles. He fumbles it again, And it rolls out of bounds. It's Max Crosby, who has been a wrecking force in the backfield today. He's back in the zone. 3rd and 9. Sanders, incomplete, should have been picked. That was not a good throw. He was under pressure and forced it in there. Jeremy Chin easily could have had it. I think it's too early to go for it at like our own 20-yard line, so we're going to punt it away. Got to trust the defense, which I can't really say I do. What a move by Zamir White to the 46, juking away from the defender. Zamir White isn't some great player in open space, so that's just a bad look for our tackling. White breaks a tackle, loses 4. There we go. Isaiah McGuire amongst others. Caleb Farley as well there to bring him down, and that'll make it 3rd and 14 with under 7:20 to play in the 4th. No way the Raiders get another big first down, right? Right. Wide open. It's Jack Besh. Breaks a tackle. He got it. How much time did Geno Smith have to throw there? Myles Garrett is out of the game again, by the way. He has been over the last drive or so, and it's easy to tell because we've set no pass rush. Geno on first down. Scrambles on the run. Geno does it again to the 23. These linebackers have to do a better job of containing him as a scrambler. If they're not going to be able to cover and they're going to offer nothing as blitzers, we've got to at least use one as a spy, although I don't think any of them would do that very well either. Bowers to the 7, a gain of 15 yards. A touchdown makes it a 3-score game and probably just about ices it with 6 to go. 3rd and goal at the 7. The Raiders have been dominant on 3rd down. How about another? Jacoby Myers back in the end zone, his 2nd of the game. And the Raiders have a 45 spot on the Browns. 45-27, 3rd and 5 at the 40. Judkins, he does not get it. I wanted to catch the Raiders off guard with the run. Didn't really work. Now it's definitely not too early to go for it with 3.5 minutes left, down by 3 scores. Sanders, it is dropped. David Njoku had it in his hands, but Landon Roberts jars the ball out. Raiders have it back, looking to chew some clock and end the game for good. 2nd and 11. Here's Geno. Looks to throw it. Has all day. Finally is sacked by Mason Graham. I would argue that was more of the coverage sack, but hey, at least we got to him. That'll make it a 3rd and 19 now at the 50. There's no way the Raiders get this. Absolutely no way. They're 9 of 10 on 3rd downs today as the short pass is caught by Tucker. I don't believe my lucky stars. We got to stop. And the Raiders, for the first time all day, will punt the ball. They have one of the best punters in the league in A.J. Cole. He has not been very busy today. Actually, he hasn't been used at all until right now. Browns back with it. Sampson does a good job finding space. Great play after the catch. It's a gain of 28 for Dylan Sampson as the Browns look to add some more points before the end of the game. Sanders goes short. Jamari Thrash, and what could be the final play before the 2-minute warning, gets it to the 38-yard line for another first down. Was that defender just riding him from the back? Huh. Sanders will get another play off before the 2-minute warning, and it is caught by Tillman. Good job there by Shedeur to not only snap that one in time, but still make a really good throw on target and on time for Tillman. 2nd and 8. Shedeur Sanders looks to throw it under pressure. He's sacked. Max Crosby, his 3rd of the game. He has lived in the backfield today. 3rd and 16. Sanders looks to throw it. It is off the mark. Looking for Tillman, who was open. He got open late, but he was open. Sanders ultimately misses the throw. 4th and 16. Sanders looks to throw it. Sanders has time. Now he's under pressure and is sacked again. Leki Fotu, who had a great game, finishes him off in the backfield, and that will do it. 45-27. The Raiders take this one over Cleveland. When you have two teams who are towards the bottom of the standings like this, I think a lot of NFL fans may brush the game off. They might expect it to be boring. Well, this game was a lot of things. Boring was certainly not one of them. From our kind of impressive comeback to some of the weird moments we had, the pass interference that pushed our offense back amongst them. But the Raiders' offense was just unstoppable. I mean, we could not get anything going defensively. Geno, 22 of 26, 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, averaging 11.5 yards per attempt. Shedeur Sanders, I thought, showed some good. He had some impressive moments, especially in the middle of the game, in the midst of our comeback. Took a few too many sacks that I feel like were avoidable. But overall, promising start. I mean, we scored 27 points. we had a lot of problems, and I would say he was not one of them. That's probably the best thing I can say. If I were to give the defense one compliment, it's that they did do a better job in the second half of stopping the run, but still not good. Zamir White had 102 yards, Geno had 71, while Quinshon Judkins had 103, on nearly 8 yards per carry. He had 13 touches, while Sampson and Ford only had 5 carries. So very clearly a hierarchy at RB1. Through the air, it was very balanced for the Raiders. They had 3 guys with at least 70 yards. And then defensively, yuck. Everybody should be embarrassed. That was pitiful. The pass rush was not good. Yes, we had 4 sacks, but on a play-by-play basis, the pass rush was not productive whatsoever. Same can be said for the run defense. We had a lot of TFLs, but every time we did not win at the line, it was consistently a gain of at least 10. The secondary was not good. Down the field, too often receivers were left wide open. We miss Myles Garrett out there, we miss Carson Schlesinger, and we miss Jerome Baker. We're also going to miss Ronnie Hickman, who suffered an arm injury. He'll be out 3 to 5 weeks. He started with Grant Delpit getting hurt in practice and not playing. Another guy who was out for us defensively in Delpit. Let's take a look at our weekly recap across the NFL. We will start in the Sin City. The Raiders were rolling. Yeah, I made the joke again, so what? 45-27 in Shedeur Sanders' first NFL start. There was some good, some bad, and some ugly from Shedeur. There were a lot of problems, though, for the Browns, and I would say Shedeur Sanders was not one of them. The offense scored 27 points. Normally, that should be enough to win, but when you have a team of backups on defense, might be a little ugly. Steelers and Bears, we already saw the result of this game. We also already saw this play. So I guess we're going to watch it again because it was pretty cool. DeAndre Swift annihilates the defender to the ground. The Bears at 7-4 in their first year with Ben Johnson have been really impressive, while Detroit has not been. They have certainly missed their former offensive coordinator. And finally, the Buccaneers and the Rams, 2 mainstays in the playoffs in recent years. Kind of in the middle. They both are good enough to make the playoffs, but they haven't necessarily been consistent this year. It was the Rams who ended up winning this game with this brilliant play by Jordan Whittington. Clean hurdles the defender, breaks the tackle from Antoine Winfield, 31-23, on the backs of a ridiculously good game for Matthew Stafford. 3 touchdowns and nearly 400 yards through the air. Shout out my guy, Jordan Whittington. What a player. Let's look at some scores around the rest of the NFL. A lot of high scores this week. We were not the only one. What I do notice is that Arizona does beat Jacksonville. Love to see it. The Jaguars are really starting to come back down to earth. Since they already have 7 wins, it's not going to be some great pick, but the lower the better. As for the players of the week, both Geno Smith and Max Crosby winning the AFC. Yeah, hard to argue with that one. Jackson Dart, despite losing, wins it for the NFC. His phenomenal rookie season continues, and then Mac Wilson of the Cardinals joins him as well. So that brings us back at home against the 5-7 49ers, a very late bye for San Francisco. They'll be off next week. The Niners, much like the Raiders, are not in the NFC playoff picture, but if all goes well, they can get there. The Niners have a top 10 scoring defense, but only the 24th scoring offense. It's been a weird year for San Francisco. They started 2-0. Great. Then they lose 7 of 8. But since then, they have won 2 in a row, including a really nice win on Monday night against Carolina. Could this be a trap game coming off a short week with their bye week on the horizon? I don't know. Could be. They do have a fairly easy schedule down the stretch, so a spot in the playoffs is very plausible if they win, say, 4 games. However, Brock Purdy will not play. He is injured. Knee cartilage tear. Brock Purdy's taken his fair share of hits in his career. We're getting close to the point where I think we can call him injury-prone. And it'll be Mac Jones, Michael McCorkle, starting for San Francisco. I remember when the Niners were rumored to draft him, I laughed in everyone's face because it made no sense to me why the Niners would draft Mac Jones when they already had Jimmy Garoppolo, when they can get a high upside quarterback like Justin Fields or Trey Lance. And I was right, given that they picked Trey Lance. In hindsight, they never should have traded up. But of the 3 quarterbacks, you could argue Mac Jones is easily the best one because he has been phenomenal with San Francisco ever since Brock Purdy got injured. I mean, he's completely revitalized his career. I would expect that he's going to be a starter somewhere next year with how well he played. I don't think it'll be San Francisco. They just paid Brock Purdy the big bucks. But Mac Jones has been terrific. They, of course, have a good group of skill position players. Christian McCaffrey. Brandon Ayuk has looked better than ever coming back from injury. He looks like one of the best receivers in the league. Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, George Kittle, who's also hurt. He will not play. All the high-end talent this team has is ridiculous. Fred Warner, first ballot Hall of Famer. Trent Williams, first ballot Hall of Famer. Nick Bosa, probably well on his way to being a first ballot Hall of Famer. Outside of their elite players, though, their roster construction is questionable, largely because they haven't drafted well. I do think they got a hit with Mykel Williams, but he's also hurt. I was excited to see him as well, Broncos legend. And then who is the kicker? Aw, hell no. Let's hop into this matchup. Shedeur Sanders' first home start with the Cleveland Browns. He'll face off against Mac Jones, leading the 49ers offense, basically looking to save their season. 5-8 is pretty much a death blow if they want to make the playoffs. So this feels like a must-win game for the Niners, and I guess lucky for them. They're playing against the team with the worst record in the NFL, who just allowed 45 points to the Raiders last week. 2nd and 10, they'll go play action. Jones lobs it up. His pass is intercepted. The Warden, Denzel Ward, comes down with the pick. Good to see the Browns starting the game with a defensive takeaway after we allowed points on almost every drive last week against one of the lesser scoring offenses in the NFL. Shedeur Sanders leads the offense out onto the field, coming off a pretty solid first career start. He threw 2 touchdowns, did not turn the ball over, and led the offense to 27 points. 3rd and 8 at the 45. Sanders under pressure. He's got Judy. Gets by Renardo Green, and he is gone. 55 yards to the house. The longest offensive play of this season for the Browns as they lead 7-0. Great start to the game for Cleveland. We forced the turnover defensively. We get the big play offensively. And as I mentioned in the game last week, I think the chemistry with Sanders and Judy has been really impressive. Those two guys are definitely on the same page. As McCaffrey gets into the 44, wrapped up by Grant Delpit. Good to have him back. One of the 35 missing starters for the Browns defensively last week. Mason Graham was probably the only guy who was healthy, it felt like, as he forces a loss of 1 on Christian McCaffrey. 3rd and 3 now at the 34. Mac Jones looks to throw it. Jones up the middle, broken away. Good defense by Cleveland. He was trying to get it to Ricky Pearsall, but it was jarred out by Rayshon Jenkins. 4th and 3, they're going to go for it. McCaffrey lines up out wide. Mac Jones an empty by himself in the backfield as he looks to throw it. Jones rolls out, and he is sacked. Mike Hall Jr. brings him down, and the drive stalls for San Francisco. That's more scoreless drives than what the Raiders had last week. Interesting. Browns back with it, looking to add to the lead. Shedeur Sanders under pressure. You know Nick Bosa had this game circled on his calendar as soon as Cleveland announced Shedeur is the starter. Blows by the right tackle, Cornelius Lucas, as it's now 3rd and 11 with Bosa in the zone. Sanders' pass is caught. Tillman gains around 8. 4th and 3 at the 40. We decided to punt it. Thought about going for it, but we had the lead. Defense looks good. I want to give them a shot to make some more plays. Mac Jones scrambles, gets the first down, and is hit hard by Edefuan Olufoshu. But Mac does get it to the 26. He's going to run right up the middle again. He's been watching the tape, knowing where to exploit the Browns. What a hit by Newsome. But Jones gets it to the 49-yard line. Mac Jones showing off some of that grit as it's 7-0 through 1. The Browns with the lead. Through the first 9 minutes, I was really impressed by our team. The interception by Ward, the touchdown by Judy, the 4th down stop. But now we're getting into some of those bad habits again. Couple of really nice scrambles by Mac Jones. It's been like this for 4 weeks. Quarterbacks are running the ball down our throats. I said it jokingly in the last game, but seriously, how good would Clyde Poole do against this defense? He would be unstoppable. Brandon Ayuk to the outside. They haven't been able to get him the ball yet, so they figure why not go for the jet sweep as he gets 17. Niners nearing the goal line. That's Jordan James, the rookie from Oregon, in motion in the backfield as James drops it. Right in his hands, wide open, uncontested. Couldn't come down with it. Browns dodged a bullet. Hey, Justin Tucker, if you're a weirdo, this kick is going to get blocked. Bang! Case in point! Cam Mitchell blocks the kick, and the Niners are held off the board. I would like to say that's karma. Also, Jordan James dropping that pass is the direct difference of probably 7 points because he had a walk-in touchdown had he caught the ball. It remains 7-0. Cleveland has it back. Sanders He connects. Judy on the out route to the 39, dragging the feet in bounds, able to come back. Perfect timing. I wasn't even trying to make the joke there. It was a perfectly timed comeback. As Dylan Sampson gets nothing, fellow rookie Alfred Collins brings him down. Second rounder from the University of Texas. That'll lead to a punt. Niners get it back. 3rd and 3 from the 39. Jones's pass is broken up. Grant Delpit with the hit on Ricky Pearsall, who drops another one. And the Niners are going to have to punt it away. We allowed 45 points last week. So far, the Niners have nothing. Here's Sanders, 2nd and 9. Has time, looks to scramble. He's eventually sacked on the play. Nick Martin, the rookie from Oklahoma State, as Sanders misfires on 3rd down, but we've got a flag. There was certainly some contact. Defensive pass interference on Upton Stout. Another rookie, the Western Kentucky Hilltopper, and that will be a 1st down for the Browns. But earlier on the drive, Wyatt Teller got hurt. I think it said he tore his labrum. That'll keep him out for multiple weeks. Zach Zinter will replace him at guard as Judkins is out of bounds at the 44-yard line. Hit out of bounds by Diamador Lenore. With around a minute left in the half, Sanders on the run. Picked off! Renardo Green mosses David Njoku. And he gets it to the 25. That was not a good decision by Shedeur Sanders, who otherwise has been making great decisions all day. He was 11 for 12 before that pass. But, yeah, he tried to do way too much. Rookie mistake. As a different rookie, Stout, gets the interception. 2nd and 10 at the 25. McCaffrey gets nothing. Denzel Ward makes the play. Niners going no huddle. They do believe that they can score before the end of the half as they get back to the line quickly with 40 seconds. Here's Mac Jones. Under pressure, pocket collapses. He gets out of it. Jones scrambles, only gets around 5. Browns call a timeout, hoping to score before halftime. Unfortunately, however, they would not, as it's 7-0 going into the break. We allowed 45 points last week. Our defense has never looked worse. And now here in this game, we have a shutout halfway through. Football does not make any sense. Like, how? There's no explanation. Let's head to Philadelphia. Bears and Eagles. Philadelphia needing to win this game. Ultimately would. Huge run by Saquon Barkley. 45-20. Jalen Hurts with a great game through the air. Outperforming Caleb Williams. Next up, we head to Baltimore. The 10-1 Ravens are pretty close to clinching the division here against the Cincinnati Bengals. And Baltimore keeps the winning ways rolling. Lamar Jackson hit as he throws, connects with Rashad Bateman in a 37-31 victory. Joe Burrow, 433 yards in the loss. And then we head to America's team on Thanksgiving. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys in a turkey bowl. Dallas at 6-5, looking to stay afloat in a very competitive NFC East against a Chiefs team who kind of has to win if they want a chance at a wild card spot. This touchdown by Isaiah Pacheco would help lead the Chiefs to a 27-7 victory over the Cowboys. And the Chiefs, who started 0-5, have won 5 of their last 7. They're playing a lot better. Jacksonville, by the way, again, trailing at halftime, 21-13 against the Titans. Tighten up, baby. As we go into the second half, certainly a different conversation than what we had during the Raiders game. The offense has not moved the ball at all. We only had the one big touchdown by Judy. Now, that's not to say Shedeur Sanders has had a bad game, other than the interception, which was a really bad decision. But he's been overall extremely efficient, 11-13, 142 yards, including the big catch by Judy, who has 92 of those yards. And then defensively, where did this come from? 45 points last week. So far, the Niners have 0. Cleveland back with it. Quick throw into the hands of Cedric Tillman, who gets it to the 27-yard line. Browns moving it quick early in the third. We haven't really had a good drive yet today. That's what we're trying to get here early in the third. Sanders is sacked, though, on 2nd and 7. DeJuan Jones hurt on the play. Looks like he might have injured his ankle. We're already without Jack Conklin, so that's now both of our offensive tackles and 3 starters on the offensive line who are hurt. Sanders up the middle. He's got Judkins. First down. Judkins beats Fred Warner in coverage. Not often is Fred Warner the one allowing the play. The best linebacker in the NFL. DeJuan Jones, by the way, broke his ankle, and he is out for the rest of the year. Not ideal. So at the other tackle spot, it'll be Carson Vincent. an undrafted rookie out of Alabama State who we signed off the Ravens practice squad. 3rd and 4. Sanders trying to get something out of nothing, and he throws it away with the impending pressure from Nick Bosa. So the Niners get the stop. That'll bring out the field goal unit. Dustin Hopkins, we haven't really called his name today. Kick is up and good from 22 yards out, and it's a multi-score lead, 10-0 in favor of the Browns. San Francisco gets it back, looking to match the Browns' drive, get some points, and make it a one-score deficit. Jones on 3rd and 5, up the middle, open, it's Luke Farrell. The backup tight end in place of George Kittle as the former Buckeye gets it to the 24. 3rd and 10 now for the Niners. Jones looks to throw it, hit from Garrett, and that one is caught. Denzel Ward batted it into the hands of Juwan Jennings. Luckily, they only get 3, as that'll bring out the field goal unit. Justin Tucker at a kick blocked earlier in the game. This one from 38 yards, and Justin Tucker splits it through the middle. The Niners are finally on the board. Both teams trade off field goals to start the second half, as it is now 10-3. Cleveland has it back, a 3rd down and 2, minute and a half to go in the third. Sanders looks to throw it. No one's open. He's got space to the right. Sanders with the first. Bosa outruns him, but he still gets it to the 45, moving the chains. Good play there by Shedeur Sanders to keep the drive moving. 3rd and 10 at the 45. Sanders looks to throw it under pressure. Off the blitz! The Niners get home. Kevin Givens makes the play for San Francisco, and that will wrap up the third. Both teams trading field goals in a defensive battle. This could not be any more opposite of the game last week, as the Browns lead it 10-3, looking for win number 3 on the year and looking to avoid their 10th loss. Isn't that ironic? We'll move into the fourth. The Niners finally scored on their last drive. They made some progress. We'll see if they can make more. 3rd and 8 from the 18. Mac Jones looks to throw it. Short pass caught. That'll go for a first down. It's Luke Farrell to the 29. The Niners have had some good drives. Like, their offense hasn't been good, but they should have more than 3 points at the same time. So we'll see if they can get some positive regression to the mean, as Farrell gets the first down to the 47 for a gain of around 17. And once again, the Niners moving the chains. Mac Jones and Luke Farrell have a little something good going. The receivers have been very quiet, though. Brandon Ayuk has done nothing. Ricky Pearsall, every time the ball is in his hands, he drops it, as Jones is sacked by Myles Garrett. We've not been able to say that for a few weeks. Garrett has been very quiet, I feel like, as of recent. 3rd and 18, Jones, he's sacked again! Back-to-back for Myles Garrett! He hadn't gotten a sack, I feel like, in at least 3 weeks, and now he just rats off 2 in a row because he's that guy, pal. So Garrett with his 15th and 16th sacks of the year, only behind Micah Parsons and T.J. Watt in that category, as David Njoku gets to the 47-yard line. 16 of 22. Sanders has been efficient, and he's pushing the ball down the field. Obviously, his yards per attempt go down without the big play by Judy, but even so, he's had some good throws in the intermediate game, including that one. Harold Fannin breaks the tackle. Fannin gets a first down to the 41. Has not been the rookie year we were hoping for from Harold Fannin, but he, like many of the other young guys on this team, I feel like have gotten better as the season has gone along. 3rd and 5, Sampson with it, and he has nowhere to go. Big stop by the 49ers. It's Upton Stout. The whole reason why we ran the ball there was to get enough yards to where we would still be in field goal range or 4-down territory, but since we lost yards, we're going to punt it. I don't trust Hopkins from 56, and I think 4th and 7 is too long to go for it. So why not trust the defense that's only allowed 3 points all game? What a punt by Corey Bojorquez. It is out of bounds at the 8. So the Niners are going to have to make up 92 yards down the field to tie the game. Jones, under pressure, has got Pearsall. Nearly got sacked by Myles Garrett. That was a risky decision to run towards Garrett's side of the field, but now he is out of the zone. 2nd and inches. Jones scrambles, gets the first down. Doesn't get much more. Good job by Diabate to stop him in his tracks, forcing Jones to give himself up. Now at the 22, 2:18 to go. McCaffrey, first down to the 40. There's a big play for San Francisco. Now a minute and a half to go. 3rd and 6. McCaffrey lines out at receiver. The Niners still have all 3 timeouts. Jones under pressure. Jones lobs it up. 1-on-1. It is incomplete. Asante Samuel Jr. does not let Juwan Jennings come down with it. 4th down. Niners going to go for it. Jones to scramble. Does not get it. Joe Tryon Shoyinka with the stop. The Browns make the play. They'll look to chew some clock and end the game for good. At the 49-yard line here is Cleveland. A few first downs away from winning. Judkins with plenty of room. Quinshon Judkins dives down at the 16. I didn't want to score there because I think we can run enough time off the clock to where the Niners don't even get the ball at all. Sure, we can make it a 2-score game, but I'd rather end it here on offense right now. Jerome Ford gets around 6 or 7 as we have another injury on the offensive line. It's Carson Vincent, the third-string tackle, so we have to use a timeout there. The Niners get an extra. 2nd and 3. Judkins, first down, and that will do it. The Niners have to use their second timeout. They only have one left. They're not going to be able to stop us, so we're going to kneel this clock out. The Cleveland Browns win a defensive battle by the final score of 10-3, improving our record to 3-9. Who could have seen this coming? We're averaging, 29 points per game over the last 2 weeks? And in that stretch, our defense is averaging around 40 points allowed per game. The Niners offense is playing well with Mac Jones, and they score 3. Football doesn't make sense, and the moment you try to stop making sense of it is the moment you can really enjoy it. Not a lot of offense in this game. Both teams moved the ball a little bit. I would say more than the score suggests, but, it was still not good. I thought Shedeur Sanders overall played a strong game, though. Completed 75% of his throws, 9 yards per attempt. That's more than Joe Flacco had in any game this year. The interception was bad, and he still needs to do a better job avoiding sacks, but otherwise I feel like he played pretty well. The problem is the offense only scored 10 points, so he wasn't exactly conducting a high-level operation. Lucky for us, Mac Jones and their offense had nothing going. On the ground, another impressive performance for Quinshon Judkins, who continues to play really well. McCaffrey was shut down, but Mac Jones at 70 yards. We still have to contain the QB scramble. Mac can move a little bit, but yeah, that's not ideal. Through the air, really solid showing for Jerry Jeudy. 6 catches, 96 yards, including the 55-yard touchdown. Farrell leads the way for the Niners. Ayuk had 1 catch for 4 yards. He's been awesome this year since coming back from his injury, but Denzel Ward had him in hell. Defensively, quite the turnaround from last week. We had less TFLs and less sacks, but I feel like our defense was a lot more consistent in the run game. We set more pressure, and the secondary was also a lot better. There's a reason why we allowed only 3 points today compared to 45 points just last week. We do have a couple new injuries. Our team is really starting to get hit hard by the injury bug here towards the end of the year. Torn labrum for Wyatt Teller. He's going to miss probably the next 2 games. And then DeJuan Jones, as I mentioned earlier, out for the year with the broken ankle. We'll put him on IR next week and replace him with a free agent. Let's take a look at our weekly recap across the NFL here in Week 13. We will start in Cleveland. The Browns coming into this game 2-9 against a 49ers team who was pretty desperate for a win if they wanted any chance of making the playoffs. But, I think losing to the Browns means you are officially cooked. 10-3, your final score in a defensive battle. The Browns, after allowing 45 points just last week, only let up a field goal in the win today. Shedeur Sanders in his second start gets win number 1. He played pretty well, 18 of 24, 220 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Steelers and Bills, both teams 7-4. The Steelers are doing their annual gimmick where they have to get to around 500. Every year, if they start really well, they have to struggle at the end of the season. If they play poorly, they've got to go on a hot streak. That's the only way they can go 9-8. Bills win it 24-8 as they get their 8th win of the year. A lot of 8s. Speaking of 8, that's how many games the Chargers have won this year. They are 8-3 against the Raiders. And after seeing this game, I feel a little bit less bad about Geno Smith torching us because he also torched the Chargers. 31-13. He only completed 13 passes, but he averaged nearly 20 yards per attempt for 4 touchdowns. So maybe the Raiders offense has just caught a hot streak at the right time. Maybe it's less about us and more about them. Or maybe the Chargers defense isn't very good. Maybe that's the problem. I love how there are all these high scores across the league and then it's just 10-3. Jacksonville lost, by the way. They let up 42 to the Tennessee Titans. Jacksonville goes 0-2 today. Browns win. What an episode. Jordan Love, Joe Burrow, Chris Barnes, and Jeffrey Simmons win the Players of the Week. We will get to see Jeffrey Simmons and those Titans today. Tennessee has been one of the biggest surprises in the NFL this year at 7-5. Looking to win this game and help their chances of making the postseason. I also plan on having a prospect profile in the next episode. I think we're going to go through tight ends, offensive line, and defensive line. So a lot to discuss in that one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.